What's up, YouTube? Two movies here. Now, here's something I haven't really done before. So this is pretty much new here. Of course, January, recently just ended and all, and there was lots of really cool movies I saw in the month of January, and there was some not so great stuff in January as well. So I'm gonna be doing the ranking of the films I saw in January. Mostly lip stuff, obviously, but obviously it's gonna be from like my least favorite to just the okay ones to my favorite, etc. So here are, I pretty much saw about 24 films in January, whether there was in theaters, streaming, and also here are my January 2024 film ranking. All right, my the worst film I saw in January coming in at number 24. Oh God, we got Founders Day. Now I was going to do my review for this, but I didn't really feel like it, so I'll just say here. Let me just say, Founders Day was awful. The acting in this just wasn't all that great. I know people will say, "Wait, you like Winnie the Pooh and Blood and Honey?" And the acting that wasn't great. Oh well, there's a difference. At least Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, at least it had some fun to it. This this definitely did not have any fun to it. The kills in this thing just wasn't all that great. If you guys don't know much about the story about this, it's where like a series of murders, like took rocks in like a small town, just days before it's like mayoral election, and so of course like this killer ends up just killing people left to right here, and he's actually wearing like a founder's father's mask. If you want to see a better horror film with like someone killing someone in a presidential mask, I highly recommend. I think what's called Election Day or President's Day or something like that. Much better film than this. It's just, yeah, this was just awful. It's not that good. I got one. All right, number 23. My other least favorite film of the year is another horror film, and the first film I saw of the year, by the way, and that is Night Swim. Night Swim was so disappointing. I wanted to like this because you got James Wan producing. Uh, the trailers actually did look pretty cool. You also had Wyatt Russell, Carrie Connick coming off of Banshees of Inisherin. I'm like, maybe this could be the new Megan. Who knows? Oh boy, this is the worst horror film I've seen in the first week of January since probably Devil's Inside. Who remembers Devil's Inside? You know, this was just it wasn't that great. It wasn't all that scary. The performances didn't really hit right. The ending was just awful. It's just not that good of a horror film. This movie just sunk and swim. So yeah. All right, number 22 is a film that probably no one even heard of, but this is actually a Tubi film that I checked out, and it's a movie titled Guess Who. Now, I've watched my share of Tubi films and all. Now, Guess Who? I call it this way. It's like if, let's say, the company Asylum, the company that's done like these mockumentary, terrible films such as Snakes on a Train, uh, Transmorphers, Atlantic Rim, and stuff like that. I call it this. It's like if the Asylum did a Get Out mockumentary, this is what we get. Like this really feels like a Get Out thing if the Asylum did it, and it's terrible. It's about a family who visits Delhi when a psychotic killer hiding behind an unusual tradition shows up with one target in mind. And if you want to see a better movie titled Guess Who, just go watch either Guess Who's Coming to Dinner or the Ashton Kutcher and Bernie Mac film. Those are better ones. This is just the performances in this is terrible. The kills didn't really sit right. The twist at the end you definitely saw it coming. It's just a terrible one. All right, number 21, I must say, is Role Play. Now, in Role Play, it's about a young married couple's life turns upside down after secrets are revealed about each other's past. And I wanted to like the shoot. You have Kelly Cuoco, who I adore. David Aiello is always terrific. This just wasn't all that good. It's just completely terrible. The performances didn't really sit right. It definitely had some stuff. It definitely has some stuff you'll really see coming, like some predictable plots and stuff like that. It really felt like a weird rip off of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. So yeah, definitely not that good one there. All right, number 20. I got Miller's Girl. Miller's Girl. This is also my least favorite. It stars Jenna Ortega and Martin Freeman, who plays a creative writing assignment yields complex results between a teacher and his talented student. Miller's Girl is just not that good of a film. You got Jenna Ortega, who obviously is pretty hot right now. To like the Scream films, Wednesday, but not everything she's in is going to be perfect, and this is definitely one of them. I mean, Jenna Ortega, the stuff in this just really wasn't that great. It really felt like stuff we've seen before, such as The Crush. Remember The Crush with Carrie Ellis and Alicia Silverstone? Definitely felt a little bit reminiscent of that. Some of the dialogue in this was just very cringy. Like there's a weird a dialogue that Jenna Ortega says to her friend in this. Now I'm like, who wrote that? Seriously? It's just, I don't know. It's not that good of a film. I mean, why did Martin Freeman or Jenna Ortega say yes to this? Beyond me, but it is what it is, I guess. All right, number 19 is Kitchen. Now, this is a Netflix sci-fi film that was directed by Dan Kaluuya, and it's also not that good of a film. It was completely boring. Like, didn't really make much sense here. Like, if you guys don't know much about the story here, is in a dystopian future, London, where all social housing have been eliminated. Izzy and Benji fight to navigate the world as residents of the kitchen, a community that refuses to abandon their homes. And like, I don't know, the sci-fi elements in this, like some of the visuals wasn't all that great. The performances wasn't really this it right. I just was really bored by this. So yeah, it wasn't really big with the kitchen. I mean, I guess movies that is core the kitchen, but whether it's this or that Melissa McCartney film a couple years ago, I guess they're not always the best when the film's titled The Kitchen. So anyway, all right, number 18. I'm going. My other least favorite is The End We Start From. Now, The End We Start From started off okay, but it just really fell flat. I wanted to like the show because you got Jodie Comer, you got Mark Strong, Benedict Cumberbatch. If you guys don't know much about the story in this, it's about a woman who tries to find her way home with her newborn while on an environmental crisis submerged London in flood waters. And this was really boring. I mean, did not really make all that much sense here. Doesn't really tell you why this whole thing happened here. It's just really fell flat. Just did not really do anything to. I mean, I was gonna do my review for this as well, but I didn't really feel like it to be honest. So yeah, and you also got like Jodie Comer, who I adore. You got Mark Strong, who's always great. Benedict Cumberbatch is terrific. Even their talent was wasted in this. So yeah. All right. Number 17, I'm going with a film that I wasn't really too big with, but had some interesting stuff here. We got Which Brings Me to You, which stars Lucy Hale and Nat Wolff. Where two romantic burnouts, Jane and Will, are immediately drawn to each other at a mutual friend's wedding. After the stressful hookup in the coat room, they spend the next 24 hours trading candid confessions, a messy histories of and heartbreaks on and off the chance that this fling could be the real thing. And yeah, this definitely had lots of predictable moments in this. It's not that good of a film here. Lucy Liu, why do I keep calling her Lucy Liu? Anyway, Lucy Hale and Nat Wolff, they have some decent chemistry in this. But I don't know, their talent I felt like was very wasted in this. It just wasn't all like there was some really cute, charming moments, but the script and some of the dialogue really didn't set right. I really wasn't too big with this at all. It's just not that good of a film here. So it is what it is. All right, now those are the films that I was not really big with. Coming up are the films that I actually found to be okay here. All right, number 17, number 16. I'm going with Destroy All Neighbors, about a struggling rock musician who finds himself in a living nightmare when he accidentally kills a neighbor from hell, and of course he becomes alive. And it reminds me of that Ron Reynolds movie, The Voices that came out like a couple years ago. And the film is actually a lot of fun. Definitely has some really cool fun laughs. I checked this out on Shutter. Really decent little horror comedy here. Josh Forbes, I thought did a good job here. You also had the likes of Camille Nanjiani, Thomas Lennon popping up. It is a really enjoyable. It really felt like a throwback to iconic '80s practical horror film. Definitely felt like that in a weird way. So not a bad film if you guys haven't seen that. All right, number 15 is the Oscar-nominated film The Zone of Interest. The Zone of Interest was pretty decent. It was, of course, starred of course, it starred Christian Friedel as well as Sandra Huller, who really cool year for her with Anatomy of a Fall. Now this, and Zone of Interest definitely has some terrific cinematography there. Definitely had some cool sound with it. Was a little slow, I admit, but not a bad film here. All right, number 14 is Good Grief. Now, this is of course a Netflix film that starred Dan Levy, who also directs the film. Now, it's where an artist grieving the loss of his famous writer husband takes his two best friends on a trip to Paris, where they unpack messy secrets and hard truths. And this was, pretty decent. Dan Levy, I thought, really played his part very well. Luke Evans, Ruth Negga was also in this. Um, it is a really decent film worth checking out. Shows how good Dan Levy could do outside of Schitt's Creek. Really glad to see what else he could do in the near future. His chemistry with his two friends here, Amesh Patel and Ruth Negga, I thought was pretty good. The Paris sequence was pretty decent. Not a bad little film. I'll check out. So it's on Netflix. You guys haven't seen that. All right, number 13. I'm going with the Paramount Plus documentary June, which is about June Carter Cash, who of course is iconic music country singer, who was of course married to Johnny Cash. This was a really decent little documentary. It featured lots of interviews by folks who pretty much became fan like who lots of people today, country artists today, even folks like Dolly Parton will definitely tell you that they were very influenced by June Carter Cash, and they were of course being interviewed about how June music like really spoke to them and became who and made them become who they was. Now, I've never been like the hugest country music guy. I mean, I've had my good share of country music. There's country music artists I've enjoyed, like Carrie Underwood, Rascal Flatts, and all. Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson. So obviously, I'm not really like all occupied when it comes to country music, but June actually was a really decent documentary. Of course, Reese Witherspoon played her in Walk the Line, which of course won Reese Witherspoon her first ever Oscar. Uh, and I thought this was a really decent documentary, worth checking out. Definitely really spoke to me and or spoke to lots of iconic country artists there. Really showcased who she was and the influence she had on because obviously when you think of June Carter, you always think of her husband Johnny Cash, who is great, but June Carter Cash also really paved the way for music artists as well, and really decent doc. We're checking out. Now, number 12 is another documentary called "Gone Before His Time," the Kobe Bryant. Now, this is actually a Tubi documentary, which say what you want about like Tubi original films, their documentaries could be pretty good. And this one's actually really decent. It is, of course, the story of NBA legend Kobe Bryant, before his unmerely passing in 2020. And I thought this was a really well put together doc. It featured lots of people who knew Kobe Bryant and on really showcased on who he was before he became big, before his passing. And I always do love these type of documentaries. And Kobe Bryant, he was an NBA legend. I mean, I remember when he passed away. Like, even though I don't really follow football or sports or anything like that, I still had to make a video talk about the passing of Kobe because he really, like, even I who don't really follow sports or anything, even I gotta say that he really made an impact on iconic players here, and he really made an impact on the world, and it's gone way too soon. It is crazy to believe that that last week it was about like in January it was about what did he pass 2020? Yeah, it's pretty much about like 4 years after his atomic passing, and of course he sadly passed away with his daughter, which that is I mean, Kobe Bryant passing was completely heartbreaking, but him passing with his daughter and lots of other folks in a helicopter, I still remember where I was when I heard that news, and this really showcased on who he was, and it's a really good documentary. Like Tubi, say what you want about their original concept, but Tubi has some really cool documentaries that is worth giving a go. All right, number 11, I'm going with the Kevin Hart film Lift. Lift is a really good, fun film. It has Kevin Hart, who plays like this master thief who is wooed by his ex girlfriends and FBI to pull off an impossible heist with the international crew of a 777 passenger flight from London to Zurich. And you also had the likes of Vincent D'Onofrio. You had Gugu Mafara, uh, Billy Magnuson, Jacob Batalon. This is a really fun, entertaining film. Like the reviews for it wasn't all that great, but I still enjoyed it a lot. Definitely feels like Kevin Hart's Fast and Furious in a way. Uh, some of the cool action moments was pretty cool. Kevin Hart really played his part well. The other cast of characters was great. Of course, this was directed by F. Gary Gray, who's of course gave us the Italian Job. I believe he did Straight Outta Compton, if I'm not mistaken. Friday, some really cool stuff. Some not so good stuff like Man in Black International. I mean, this was far better than that, that's for sure. But not a bad film worth checking out. All right, number 10, I'm going with ISS. Now, ISS is a really cool little sci-fi film starring Ariana DeBose, who I thought was terrific in this. Chris Messina, Pillow, I can never pronounce the name. Paulo Aspaic, who was in like Game of Thrones, and this was a really decent. Now, of course, this is my official top 10, but number 10 is of course ISS, and it's a really terrific sci-fi film. Ariana DeBose I thought was really terrific. The other cast of characters was great. Could have had a better ending, but other than that, I still thought it was enjoyable to watch. Great performances by the cast and crew. No, not a bad film here. All right. Coming in at number 9, I'm going with the Netflix film Society of the Snow. Now, this of course takes place in 1972, where Ugandan flight crashes in the remote heat of Andes, forming survivors who become each other's best hope. Now, of course, it's just got a couple of Oscar nominations for like best makeup. I believe best visual effects, if I'm not mistaken, too. Well deserving there. It definitely had some really cool, enjoyable, like some very cool stuff in it. Uh, the visuals are pretty decent. The sound was pretty cool, so it definitely makes much sense that they get some Oscar love. J.A. Benona, of course, who directed stuff like The Impossible. He also put out Jurassic World, Dominion. He's put out some cool stuff here. I mean, he did Fallout, not Dominion. My bad. But I thought he did a really decent job with this film. The cast who I never really heard of before, did a really good job here. It is crazy to believe this is based on a true story and that this actually did happen, but it is a really decent and very intense story worth checking out. All right, Number eight, I'm going with All of Us Strangers. Now, of course, people's probably gonna be like, "Wait, didn't All of Us Strangers and Zone Adventures came out in like December?" I technically saw them in January, so I'm gonna count them as January releases because I them also came like more wider in January, so that's kind of why I count them in January. But anyway, uh, now as I was saying, All of Us Strangers starring Andrew Scott, who I'm a little surprised he did not get an Oscar nomination. To be honest with you, Andrew Scott was terrific in this. Paul Mescal was great, Claire Foy, Jamie Bell. It's more like this screenwriter named Adam, played by Andrew Scott, who has a chance to encounter with a mysterious neighbor named Harry, puncturing the rhythm of his everyday life here. And as the relationship develops between them, Adam finds himself drawn back into his childhood home, where like his parents appear to be living, just as they did 30 years ago. And it's a really terrific watch. The performances by Andrew Scott, Paul Mescal, I thought was terrific here. Directed by Andrew High, who gave us stuff like who gave us some pretty good stuff before, such as 45 Years. He did Lean on Pete. He's done some really cool, terrific films here. I know he did a great job with this film. The cinematography was pretty decent. Really good little film if you guys haven't seen it. It showcases how good Andrew Scott is as an actor. All right. Number seven, I'm going with The Underdogs, which is, of course, a Prime Video original. I really had a fun time with The Underdogs. Of course, you had Snoop Dogg in this, directed by Drumline director Charles Stone III. The Underdogs was a lot of fun. Definitely has a little bit of a reminiscence of Bad News Bears in a way. I like how you definitely thought this was going to be a family film, but when you see it, it's actually definitely not for the kiddos. Like, if you want to see kids cursing up a storm, this is definitely not a kids' film at all. And if you watch the film, you can definitely see why. Uh, of course, here you had Snoop Dogg, who plays like this former football player named Jaken, who is sentenced to community service coaching an unruly Pee Wee football team, and he tries to turn his life around, the team around. I know Snoop Dogg really like he pretty much played himself in a weird way, but he played his part very well here. Mike Epps, George Lopez, Tika Sumpter, some really cool supporting players. This didn't really get the best reviews, but I don't care. I really had fun time with it. It was really enjoyable to watch. So, if you guys haven't seen The Underdogs, definitely give it a go. Especially if you're a fan of Snoop Dogg and you're a fan of sports, this is definitely one for you. All right. Number six is The Beekeeper. The Beekeeper is a really fun action film. Jason Statham, I thought really like. Of course, last year he was in some not so great stuff. Such as only thing he was in that I enjoyed was Fast X, but he was of course in Operation Fortune, The Meg 2, Expendables 4. So yeah, some of his career last year wasn't all that great. But I will say Beekeeper really brought him back to prominence. I thought he really played his part well in this. David Ayer did great. You had Felicia Rashad, Josh Hutcherson. Jeremy Irons was also in this. It's a really entertaining film, worth checking out with some fun performances here. It's a fun action to it. Shows that how great Jason Statham could be. He really showcases talents well in this. So definitely give The Beekeeper a go. All right, number five. I'm going to put down the Hulu film Self Reliance. Self Reliance, starring and directing by Jake Johnson, was really terrific. Of course, here you have Jake Johnson who plays Tommy, who receives an invitation to win 1 million by playing by playing a game where he must outwit hunters attempting to kill him. And he realizes that other hunters can also only attack him when he's alone. So he tries to get his friends and family to believe the game is real. And you also had like Christopher Lloyd, Andy Samberg, Wayne Brady, Emily Hampshire, Gata, some really cool supporting players. It's really hilarious. Jake Johnson was pretty good in this. Andy Samberg playing himself was fun. This makes me want to see, what else Jake Johnson could do next behind the camera because I thought he did a really good job with this one. So definitely give Self-Alliance a shot. All right. Number four, I'm going with the Book of Clarence. Now, the Book of Clarence, of course, has like Lakeith Stanfield, um, who plays like this down on luck man who's trying struggle to find like a better life for his family while fighting to free himself of that here. So of course, he is captivated by the power and glory of the rising Messiah, and so he like risks everything to carve his own path to a divine life, ultimately discovering that the redemption power of belief here may be the only way out. Now, no one really saw this film when it was released; it completely flopped. But the Book of Clarence was actually pretty terrific. Lakeith Stanfield was great. The other cast from like Benedict Cumberbatch to James McAvoy was really good. It definitely felt like reminiscence of stuff like the Ten Commandments, Ben Hur. Definitely has a little bit of a Passion of the Christ feel too. James like James Samuel and Jay Z were the producers on this, so they did a really good job here too. Really a terrific film. Like definitely has a fun laugh to it. Definitely wasn't really trying to offend Christianity or anything. So really good flick of you. Number three, I'm going with Origin. Now, of course, this stars Anja Ellis Taylor, who plays Isabel Wilkerson, who writes her semi-book, Cassie, The Origins of This Continent, while coping with her own personal tragedies. Now, Anja Ellis Taylor, how did she not get an Oscar nomination for this is still beyond me. Of course, she is best known for like getting an Oscar nomination for the King Richard movie. I thought she was better in this than she was in King Richard, to be honest. So, she definitely really played her part very well. The other cast, like John Bertha, was great. Nick Offerman pops up in this. It is a really terrific watch. Great performances all around. I really like some of the flashback scenes that talks about past like racism and stuff. And here has some really interesting stuff we're checking out. All right, number two, I'm going with Mean Girls. Now, Mean Girls, I really was much better than I had any attention span. Like, was this as good as like the 2004 one? Obviously not, but I still really quite enjoyed Mean Girls a lot. Renee Rapp I thought was pretty decent in this. The other cast of characters was great. The music I enjoyed. I really enjoyed this movie a lot more than I should have. I saw it twice when it was released. Really terrific film, and of course the box office really showed it too. Really enjoyed this film a lot, so definitely give this one a go if you guys haven't seen it. And my number one favorite film of the year is of course The Greatest Night in Pop. Now, of course, this is pretty much a documentary about We Are the World, and I thought it was a really terrific doc. Featuring like interviews by the likes of Lionel Richie, to Cyndi Lauper. Like I really was cool. I said this in my review. I call this film the Avengers of music, with Lionel Richie become like the Nick Fury trying to recruit these artists for this big event here. That's what I really thought of The Greatest Night in Pop. The Avengers for music, and it's a really terrific doc. It's on Netflix. Well worth a shot. Really wonderful film. Worth checking out. So if you guys haven't seen The Greatest Night in Pop, I'll definitely say give it a go. You might enjoy it. So yeah, but anyway, now here that's pretty much it. There. Now here is the rundown here. All right. 24 is A Terrible Founder's Day. 23, Night Swim. 22, Guess Who. 21, Roleplay. 20, Miller's Girl. 19, The Kitchen. 18, The End We Start From. 17, Which Brings Me to You. Those were the terrible ones this year. But now, the not so terrible ones, the ones that I quite enjoyed. Number 16, Destroy All Neighbors. 15, Don't Avenge Us. 14, Good Grief. 13, June. 12, Gone Before His Time. 11, Left. 10, ISS. 9, Society of the Snow. 8, All of Us Strangers. 7, The Underdogs. 6, The Beekeeper. 5, Self-Reliance. 4, The Book of Clarence, 3, Origins, 2, Mean Girls, and number 1, The Greatest Night in Pop. Let me let you guys. What are some of your January 2024 film rankings? Some film that you saw, whether you enjoyed it, you didn't enjoy it, and all. Drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notification. This is Sammy signing out.